Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to episode 16 of 100 Reasons to Become Muslim. Today we are discussing the sun and the moon. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the light of the sun and the moon in various places. Now scientifically we know the sun produces light through a process called nuclear fusion, where hydrogen particles will hit each other, they'll combine into helium, and the resulting energy, heat, and radiation is what we basically get as a byproduct, which is sustaining our solar system and life on this planet. Now the moon doesn't actually produce light. The moon is basically a giant reflector, that it takes light from the sun and it bounces it back to the earth, and our eyes then perceive that light as coming off the moon. What's interesting is in the Quran, different words have been used to describe the light of the sun and the light of the moon, implying that there's a different mechanism for each. When it comes to the sun, there are three words that are used. There is siraja, diya'a, and wahaja. Siraja means lamp. Diya'a means like an intense blazing light. And wahaja is the most intense, which means like a fierce, hot type of light. When it comes to the later two words, diya'a and wahaja, this is pretty obvious. The sun is pretty intense. It's hard to look at. It produces a lot of heat. But when it comes to siraja, it implies that the sun is producing its own light. Number one, because a lamp is basically producing its own light. And number two, it implies that it's going through fuel the way a lamp goes through the oil. And similarly, the sun is going through its fuel, right, which is the hydrogen. And once that hydrogen runs out, then the sun most likely won't have enough energy to do nuclear fusion for helium, and the star will basically die. When it comes to the moon, there are two words that are used primarily. The first word is nur. Nur just means light generally. It does not imply anything in terms of self-generated or borrowed from something else or reflected off something else. It just means light. It accommodates all of those meanings, so it could be any one of them. And so we know for a fact that the moon's not producing its own light. And so miraculously the Quran avoids that mistake by using the word nur, as opposed to if it used the word siraja like it did with the sun, it would have been incorrect because the moon is not producing any light of its own. And that would have actually been, from a metaphorical perspective, a better analogy almost, because a lamp is primarily used at night, and the moon comes up at night. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not use that. Probably one of the reasons is because it would have become in error. The other word is munira, and munira just means bright. Munira in some contexts can have the meaning of something that is given light. However, in the Quran, it's not a strong implication. So what's amazing here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses two words that accommodate for the meaning of being given light and being reflected light, and does not use another word like he does with the sun that specifies that the light is produced within the body.